As we embark on the 50th anniversary of the Clean Air Act, I can't help but to think about our family's history and legacy in helping to create the law and all that we are doing now to protect it. Dad, I know you've told us this a few times before, but I'd love to hear a bit more about Grandpa Leon Billings' work for Senator Ed Muskie to help draft the 1970 Clean Air Act.
Your grandfather and my dad went to work for Senator Ed Muskie of Maine, who was chairman of the Air and Water Pollution Subcommittee of the Public Works Committee in the 1960s. And in the 1960s, Congress came together to pass the Clean Air Act to respond to the air pollution that was choking American cities. You could literally see across the street because the air pollution was so bad in many communities. And Congress felt compelled to act to address the pollution that was harming the health of millions of people.
What's so interesting to me is that it passed Congress nearly unanimously.
Yes, it was. Senator Muskie worked with Howard Baker from Tennessee, a Republican, to work on a bipartisan consensus to address the air pollution that was harming public health. So they wrote a law that was designed to deal with new and emerging threats and to follow the science. Kelsey, you work on every day on climate change policy. How does the Clean Air Act work to address carbon pollution?
Leon always used to say that one of the most effective and creative aspects of the Clean Air Act was it centered human health. And that in turn not only gave it the bipartisan appeal that you talk about, Paul, but also durability. And he think he was right. That's a big reason the Clean Air Act can be used and is used to address the climate crisis, because it compels EPA to regulate pollutants that, quote, endanger public health and welfare.
Yeah, the effects of climate change can really be seen in a lot of our national parks. At Mount Rainier National Park, for example, all of the glaciers on the mountain are retreating, and they've been retreating for the past 100 years or so.
Here in California, we still live with too many high ozone days. But since I moved out here in 2017, the wildfire pollution impacts me the most. Every season, they've continued to say this is the worst wildfire season on record. And it's become a habit that I have to check the air quality daily before going about my activities like walking outside and running. We're living the health impacts of climate change right now. People keep saying it's a future problem, but here in California, we experience it every day.
The Clean Air Act became law because the public demanded it, and Congress and the president responded to that public pressure. Your grandfather drafted the 1970 law as a young staffer. In 1990, I helped organize grassroots support for the 1990 amendments, and I spent the last 29 years at the American Lung Association working with our amazing volunteers and staff to push for air that is safe and healthy to breathe and a stable climate to protect our health. Each of you are part of a generation that prioritizes the climate and recognizes that in order to have water that is safe to drink and air that is healthy to breathe, we must come together to push for policy changes to protect health. The Clean Air Act is our family's business. Leon will be very proud of each of you raising your voices to fight climate change and support clean air.
But maybe we could have a virtual toast to Leon and the Clean Air Act?
Here's to the Clean Air Act.
Woo!